He liked to finish on her face, and they both would lick it off. It's important to the story, I promise. My client Marlene called me upset because her marriage was in shambles. This wasn't our first call, but in previous calls I tried to bring it up, but she wasn't ready to talk about it. And y'all know me, I don't push. Marlene told me she was considering leaving her husband, but she still loved him and wasn't ready to walk away. Before I can even grab my cards to see what's going on, one of her ancestors started shouting, "Leave his ass! Leave his ass! We've been telling her to leave him for the longest. In fact, we told her not to marry him in the first place." She went on to say, "She's trying to bring down our bloodline." That ancestor was not happy. She said, "We told her in her dreams." Then the ancestor said, one day she wanted to play a game. One day she wanted to play a game. She said, "Oh, if I get caught by the train, then I know he's not the one for me." She said, "We sent 2 trains." She got stopped by 2 trains that day and still proceeded to marry this man. And the ancestor ended her mini crash out by saying, "And he's been cheating on her since day one. He was late to their wedding because he had to crawl about some coochie." So I tell Marlene, I say, "Your ancestors really want you to choose yourself." Marlene responds by saying, "Well, we've been together almost 10 years and I really want a baby." I hear her out and I say, "Okay, well, I'm going to pull some cards and see what the cards say." I let her know that she has an ancestor present and I relayed the messages to her. She remembered the train incident and she said, "Oh, I thought I just manifested that." People will excuse away any sign so they can get what they want. So I pull some cards and I let her know that the cards do show he is being unfaithful. She goes on to say, "Well, I just need some kind of proof." I let her know, be careful what you ask for because your spirits are adamant, so they really gonna show you. So I told her, you need to prepare yourself because they gonna show you. Because they want you gone. They want you to choose you. We talk about a couple of other things that we've been working on, and I gave her some spell work. The spell was to reveal what was unseen. Maybe about 6, 7 weeks later, I see her on my schedule again. So we get to her next reading. Before I can even get it out to say, "Hey, this is Luna calling for our scheduled call," she just broke down. So of course I gave her space to cry because I'm your safe space and you can cry with me. So Marlene tells me one day her car was in a shop and she had to drive her husband's car. Something told her, look in the glove compartment. There were 2 packages for prescriptions. One package had her husband's name and the other package had a woman named Clara. Marlene said she tore that car up. She looked under seats, in every little compartment, and then she found one of Clara's earrings, or who she assumed was Clara's earrings. So then she goes back to the prescription. She looked at the woman's prescription and it's only one, and it's some kind of eye drops. She said she called her friend who's a pharmacist to ask her, what does this do? She didn't give her friend context or let her know what was really going on. The friend told her, "Oh, we usually prescribe that when people have herpes of the eye." Marlene proceeds to tell me, "Well, we haven't slept together in maybe about 8 or 9 months. This explains it. And if you haven't put 2 and 2 together, he has a fetish of finishing on someone's face and licking it off. So some got in the side chick's eye and she contracted herpes of the eye." She then says, "Luna, don't judge me, but can I save my marriage?" I told her, "Of course, I'm not judging you. That's your husband. You want to try to keep it going." I did let her know that my personal opinion, based off the reading and my conversations with her ancestors, it was not a good idea to stay with him and she would be better off choosing herself. However, this is her life and her marriage, and it's up to her to try to save it if she wanted to. But I let her know that a honey jar wasn't going to fix this. She goes on to say, "I know I should leave, but I'm not ready yet." I tell her, "Okay." We schedule a call for maybe 4 months later, and I told her, "Whatever you decide, I'm going to hold your hand through it. So whatever you decide, I got you." So we end the call, and I get an email about 2 days later, and she says, "I left him." Marlene tells me that when she was leaving work that night, she decided to take the long route home. And she got stopped by every single train. Marlene said she had been traveling that road for about 15 years and that has never happened. And I was so proud of her for choosing herself. I went and poured libations for her ancestors. I poured libations for my ancestors, and we had us a whole dance party because I was thankful that she decided to walk away. In the email, Marlene let me know that she needed some time, and we rescheduled her reading for about 8 months later. We get on the call. She said, "Girl, I've been having a time." She says, "Girl, I didn't even know they made dicks that big." And while I'm laughing at her, she says, "And do you know, I think I like to taste the coochie too." I said, "Well, that makes one of us, but good for you." As Marlene and I are recapping her last 8 months, she tells me she kind of went on a little hoe spree, as she should. She also told me that her husband had only made her reach her peak once, and he had the nerve to be passing it around town. She said she was safe throughout her little hoe spree, and y'all know me, I am very pro hoe. Just be safe. Marlene let me know that after our last reading, she decided she was leaving town, she was moving across, and she had put in a transfer at her job. She said on her last day, she had been wanting to sleep with her boss. She said she fucked him in a car. I said, "Go, girl, go. Tell me more." She said she realized she had been cheated her whole life. The amount of times she went up that mountain and came down and went up that mountain again was astonishing. She said she didn't know they made dick like this. So she gets to her new job down south. She says she gets down to her new job and she meets Joseph. He works for another company in her building and they kind of hit it off. She said they went on a couple of dates, but she just wasn't ready for that. She still was in her hoe phase, but she knew she wanted more than just dick from Joseph. So then I asked her, "Well, how's your ex-husband doing?" Because about 3 months prior, she had emailed me and said she just couldn't let this go. This man was causing her so many problems. Refusing the divorce, holding her property hostage, going live on TikTok, lying to people about why they broke up. She said this man needs to suffer. So I did a quick little divination, although I knew her ancestors were on board already. But I did a little divination, and divination said yes. She just had to do a cord cutting first. So I sent her the steps and told her please reach out to me if she had any problems. So on the call, I asked her, "So how's he doing?" She said, "Girl, his life went to shit so quick." She said he lost his job. He scratched bald spots in his head, so he walking around with patches. Marlene then told me that her ex-husband tried to ruin her credit by not paying the mortgage, but the judge ruled in her favor. But that was enough talking about him. Then she started to tell me about how her and her girls went to Jamaica, and she went and got the stone massage with the clay. She said her friend paid the masseuse a little extra, and he came to her hotel room later and showed her that Jamaicans really do it better. She says then she went to Atlanta and she was supporting her friend at a pride fest, and she ended up in a bed with 3 other women. Marlene said that when she was done, she just sat on the side of the bed because she was shook. She was shook because she had so many great experiences in such a short time, and she stayed with some man who couldn't even give her that, who didn't care enough to learn her body and what she liked. Marlene tells me that she's had some of the best experiences, but she's ready to see about Joseph. She said her Aunt Lizette came to her in a dream and told her Joseph was the one she had been preparing her for. She said her aunt also told her she done fucked around enough, it's time for her to go and settle down. She said although she had this confirmation, she still wanted me to do divination, but before I can pull the cards, Aunt Lizette came in and said, "Tell her to pull out the list." Now, right when she was considering if she was going to divorce or not, I told her to write a list of everything she wanted in a man and see if her husband checked off those boxes, and he did not. So she pulled out the list and she started reading it, and she was like, "Oh my God, Luna, this man literally has like 80% of what I asked for." And I'm running out of time and I still didn't get to tell y'all everything. But long story short, Marlene and Joseph have been together for about a year and they are very happy. Make sure to follow me on YouTube. I'll be posting longer story times there. But the moral of this story, choose yourself and you will never lose.